considering how much time he's had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think NightMare is one of those Protosses who will consistently usually pylon scout or even gateway scout. So I don't think you'll probably take any risks, especially against Cham.
All right. So spawning in the top left-hand side of the map, it is NightMare. That's the red Protoss player.
And on the bottom right, as the Latino champion, it is the Mexican player Cham.
Chamaco.
Chami.
He is the champion, the Latin American champion here, against
True.
one
Reigning
of
champion.
Korean's lowest ranked officials, you would say, going into this tournament. So surely Latin America takes this one.
Well, some people would argue that the best of Latin America is still the worst of Korea. But to those naysayers, I say, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think so as well. And Cham is going to prove him wrong as well, as he's going to be dropping his pool. Pretty standard timings for the most part. That's like 18-18 basically. I mean, it was a split, right? The gas and the pool. Not really any order in particular there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like rallying the drones is a little bit more efficient than what we saw here, as he is now rallying to his gas one at a time. I do like that. And NightMare just poking and being a little bit annoying with the probe, the classic.
Yeah. Oh, he actually did make a mistake by
Yeah.
mining the thing accidentally. So that's a good start for Cham. Little bit of extra mining. And I think, meanwhile, I do wonder where is he going to decide to leave his Overlord, because there's not an obvious cliff for you to leave an Overlord on this map.
Yeah, there's a lot of airspace here though, where the Overlord should be plenty safe. So I like that he's putting it here to the right. I would love for him to poke and then poke out in case it's a Stalker, but he is looking to commit for the time being. If that Overlord doesn't turn around soon, it could be in trouble against a Stalker, which is pretty rare, of course, a Stalker opening. But yeah, things are progressing as per usual here. Third base already for Chamaco.
Yeah, Cham is definitely the kind of guy who is not afraid to lose his Overlord in lieu of scouting. So I think, yeah, he's going to see the Stargate. He's going to know, okay, this is pretty standard. He's probably going to go double Adept into Oracles.
Yeah, it should be the classic here. So we'll see how Cham chooses to arrange his queens, and when he drops his spores. There's already 2 links in the main only and 2 links at the natural, so he deems that
Void
perfect.
Ray?
Void Ray?
Okay, this is already taking an interesting turn. This is not something you see in the new patch, or even in the patch before the new patch.
Yeah.
So
the
they're
last 2
surprising.
patches. There was a patch where Void Rays were all the rage. They were a little bit cheaper and whatnot. But now, I mean, they're just not. So we'll see what NightMare has planned here. So, or Void Ray into Oracle, the classic. So I guess he just wants to clear the Overlords here for free as early as possible, and the Overlords are likely to go down, as one will be spotted here. The other one is trying to hide to the left.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that he left 2 Overlords on the other side of the map after he scouted it, but that will set him a bit behind
oh no, another one.
economically. Yeah. And eventually, if that Overlord near his base gets spotted, which it will by the Oracle,
Just now.
he can, he can choose to send the Void Ray back, which he will.
Damn. Well, this is not looking good for Cham. I mean, that Void Ray already more or less paid for himself just with the kills here, and you know he's
Adepts in the natural.
Yeah, misplaced. I mean, the Link's getting before the getting between the cracks there, and now going after the pylon. This Oracle's gonna have to activate, but NightMare being very slow at it. Finally will activate, but not before losing a pylon.
Meanwhile, though, on the other side of the map, killing 5 drones with 2 adepts, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all, actually. So he was a little bit focused, preoccupied with the adepts. That's what happened to the Oracle there. A little bit sloppy on both ends, or a lot of chaos, perhaps you could argue. But yeah, NightMare will get his third situated. Cham wants to have a say in the matter. He's already crossing with a few Zerglings.
Yeah, I mean, one Void Ray, one Stalker. I don't think. Actually, he does have a warp in with the gateways. He has two warp gates with several more coming up. So he'll definitely be safe in the early game as we transition into the mid game. Honestly, after this little exchange of blows, I feel it's still pretty even.
Yeah, it doesn't
Even
feel like
Steven.
anyone has a big advantage here, as Cham is now going for the Baneling Nest, plus 1 milli of all things about to finish, and that's a pretty good upgrade against Stalkers. If NightMare is just going to be going for the Stalkers, the Links are going to be super effective, right? Like my NightMare, no pun intended when I do this, is something like Archons and Charge Lord Archon basically is the bane of these
Yeah.
openers for me, but against Stalkers, against the Gateway heavy stuff, plus 1 milli is going to work wonders.
So he should be fine versus this, right? Because Nightmare definitely wants to all in here.
Mm-hmm.
He's not making any probes. He's not even saturated in his third base. No forges. Just pure stalker. What do you think, Kat? Does he hold?
I like it for Champ personally. The Hydra then will be a little bit late. He just needs a lot of links to make sure that he can withhold the first couple of waves, where Nightmare is just going to be looking to get away from giving Cham any surface area, any good positions to surround. So here comes the poke from Nightmare. He has chosen the best possible location though, right? Like there isn't a lot of creep here, so the Stalkers should have a lot of maneuverability. And here comes Cham, but that's not enough Surglings to engage yet. So I'm a little bit surprised that he's going for it, but he seems to think that he has an edge here, and he will continue to push the issue. Not the best trades on the other side. 9 probes did go down to Banelings potentially.
I do wonder with that damage, maybe he could even forfeit this fourth base. Just buy some time for the Hydras, let the hatchery take the shots. Honestly, if he holds here, he's fine, even on 3 bases, but I'm starting to think it might be a difficult, it's gonna be a tall order, guys.
Yeah, very difficult now, right? Because again, it all comes down to the first couple of waves. And like you're saying, I don't think that Cham was in any rush to engage there. Maybe he wanted to distract for the Banelings to do the damage, and maybe that's what he valued there. But really, I don't think he had any business taking that engagement with the Zerglings. Now the Hydras are out, drones having to be pulled. The Queens are excellent tanks for the Hydra, so he might fend off this attack, but not before losing a lot of drones in the process. And yeah, Cham will manage to finally push Nightmare back with the aid of his workers. But not ideal, not an ideal hold, I would say. Still,
It does kill 10 probes on the other side of the map, so he's keeping the probe count low. But the question is, how many drones does he have to lose to be able to hold this? And even
well,
if he sacrifices them, can he hold?
yeah, that's the thing, is the Hydras are surviving. Cham is doing a very good job with the drones. Spreads himself a little bit thin. They're going after 2 different prongs. The drones have to continue to be pulled over and over. He is now dipping in supply near 20, and yeah, it looks like the Hydras are not going to be enough here. Link reinforcements are a little bit too slow. 8 on the way. He will push a Nightmare back as he takes that 4th. I almost want him to cancel it now because he doesn't really have the means to ever mine it. Like, drones is not going to be a priority for him anytime soon. I'd rather have those $350 back, but he looking dead.
Yeah, I think Cham is pretty much done for here.
Yeah, no queens
Honestly,
either.
I feel like maybe... Do you think the Hydras were a little bit too late for this? Or maybe he should have stuck to Ravager instead and Ravager Ling his way into a defense?
Yeah, the thing for me is usually I think for the first wave you want a lot more Circlings, kind of like you would have against like Adepts running in, right, and then the Roaches as a follow-up. In this case, it's something similar where I think if he just had more Circlings or delayed, right, like the Hatchery can take a little bit of damage for sure at the very least. So, you know, like let the Hatchery take a few volleys before engaging so that you have the most amount of units that you can have, and buy some time for your Hydras. Like you said, also, after killing those probes as well, I think he could have definitely let the Hatchery go. The only question that I have is whether he, in his mind, was trading the attention of getting those Banelings off on the other side by throwing the engagement, basically. Because that was just a terrible engagement, the first engage, right? Like, it was never going to work with that many links.
Yeah, I think he definitely bit off more than he could chew with push, especially even going off creeps with that little amount of links. Honestly, that's kind of scary. I wonder also if maybe he just didn't think it was that much of an all-in. It's possible that he thought it was just one of those stalker pressures while you get your fourth base behind it, and that's why he committed so much. But honestly, after seeing how many, the fact that there were no gases at the third base, maybe it's something you can assume as a Zerg player.
And he had the right response for it. I mean, like, in terms of army composition, Link Hydra should completely chew through Stalkers if you have enough of it, right? Like, the problem is just getting enough and balancing that act of making enough drones, but not enough that you're, not too few that you're behind basically economically. It's a very difficult balancing act because of Chrono Boost and just how fast the Protoss players get their third these days. It's just like very difficult to keep up on both fronts, economical and then to have the right amount of units. I think Cham had the right ideas there. The engagement a little bit too premature for my taste, and it'll cost him this time around. So we'll see if he can adjust for the second map, which is going to be Royal Blood.
Yeah, I am wondering what is he gonna do differently this time, if this changes his game plan. Because if you get destroyed by an all-in like that, maybe you decide, okay, maybe I should play a little bit safer now. Don't want to start off the day with 0-2, dropping into the lower bracket. That would be really unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he decides to all-in himself. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
We will find out indeed, as we are now loaded up. My good friend Daiejo and spawning and leading 1-0. It is in the bottom left-hand side. The red Protoss player, NightMare.
And on the top right, coming from Guadalajara, Jalisco.
Is he really?
It is, yeah.
Beautiful.
Chami.
Chamaco. Guadalajara, Jalisco. And we have a probe already on its way to block the hatchery. So this probe had to be sent a little bit earlier just to make sure that it can do that. And Cham on the other side, he did send his drone fast enough that he's not going to be floating much money at all here when he drops the hatchery at the third. So was ready for this move.
Yeah. That is usually the Zerg standard nowadays. Check for the probe, expand at the third. Interesting to see, honestly. They're playing the two shortest maps first. So they're both very excited to play short maps.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who picked which one.
Oh, Cham, look at it. Look at the drones. Okay. Cham has some of the worst mechanics, I swear, out of any pro. Doesn't he?
Sometimes, I think.
I mean, that was crazy. Like, what? Like, that's two different larvae from drones rallied onto the ethers. Like, there's not that much to do at this point in the game, and they were both just kind of sitting there for a couple of seconds. And this is, this is from me flattery, right? Like the fact that he can play at this level and have those little details slipped from time to time. It's crazy to me.
I do think dealing with the probe is not that easy. Like if you're trying to build stuff at the same time, but you're also making sure that your drones are mining from the patch.
For sure.
Can be a bit annoying.
That's true. NightMare again with mining the minerals a little bit too early as well with the probe. We'll have to retreat soon as links have now started. But definitely could have killed a little bit more time there on the mining. And he is now making an adept on the other side as per usual. And the standard Stargate transition to follow.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the same exact build out of NightMare here. He's
Look
one
at
of the kind of
natural. Look.
Oh.
You see what
It's
I'm
okay,
saying?
it's fixed. It's fixed. He took care of it.
True.
But yeah, as I was saying, NightMare is one of those guys that I think they live by the if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the same build, especially because this is also a very short map, just like last time.
So not a trickster, you would say?
Not really. I don't think so, at least.
Alrighty. Well, he's gonna find a little bit of a pocket there to throw a punch onto a drone, but the drone will morph into a spore to save itself. The adept doesn't take any hull damage, so still probably a good trade for NightMare, who now has two adepts ready to go into the other side of the map. Void Ray again as the opening from the Stargate, and I'm a little bit surprised about this one given that the bases are so far apart from each other, but yeah, that's what he likes.
Yeah, indeed. But overall, I think this is going to play out a bit more differently. This time he is ready for the 2 Adepts, and he hasn't lost nearly as much as he did last game to the to the 2 Adepts. He does see the Void Ray once again. Void Ray got 1 kill this time instead of 2. Hopefully he'll keep it this way for a bit longer.
Yeah, we'll see. Because it's not super usual, like you were pointing out in the last game, to have both Overlords on the other side of the map. Like this time around, he did manage to run one away, but NightMare's looking for it. Alright, he chooses to look elsewhere for now, so maybe we'll not find it. It's close. Uh-oh.
Okay, so one really interesting thing is that Cham started an Evil Chamber, and he cancelled and made a Roach Warren instead. And what this indicates is that he probably was interested in playing +1 melee again, and he decided against it. Now, one thing that he's changing for sure is making a lot of links. He does want to try and pressure this third a little bit. That's not going to work with an Oracle and 3 Adepts.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where he got the information or when he got the information of the Adepts, but this is the right response against what NightMare is doing, right? Like NightMare is going for those glaives, and so you are going to need roaches. We were talking about like the last game that +1 melee would be really good against Stalkers. It would be really good against that gateway push off of 3 base, but Cham must have gotten enough information from the timing of the gases or something of the sorts, or just poking and seeing an extra Adept perhaps. Oh my god, he's walking the queens.
Yeah, he wants to all in here. This is full all in from Cham.
Oh, this is crazy.
The question is, can Glaive Adepts hold this all in?
I mean, those queens do not have transfuse, right? So it's not going to be too easy for Cham to make this work. These queens are effectively just tanks, but they kind of overlap in the role with the Ravagers. I almost wish that he had brought a drone here to make a Hatchery, cancel it, and put a Creep Tumor, because that's a lot of energy that's being wasted here from the queens.
Indeed. I mean, frankly, I'm not Omega hopeful here for Cham. The shield battery is going to do wonders, but he is starting to pick off a few Adepts.
He should
I don't like that the queens are fighting the Adepts on the bottom, though.
Not at all. Yeah, the queens have no business being at. Oh, but Cham almost gets in. Actually, gets us around onto the Adepts instead.
That's good.
On the other side, losing a Ravager there that's strayed a little bit too far forward. And NightMare is doing a good job of delaying things, right? Like not taking the engagement. But this base should go down. And Cham should start producing drones, quite honestly. Now here we go. 2 drones in production as well as the lair. So he recognizes, okay, I got the third. I'm not going to get more. And that is the right call here. Reinforcing here would be a death sentence for Chamaco. Transitioning, looking decent.
Do you think this is enough?
I don't know. Probably not, right? Like 39 workers?
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, he has no saturation in his second base. He has no lair, so he's not going to be able to morph Overseers against the DTs. He's only relying on Spore Crawlers, which, by the way, he does not have in his second base.
Yeah, and that's exactly where the DTs are headed, sadly. So Dark Templar is going to be very happy here. Cham takes note of it right away. Still, the drones go straight into the arms of a waiting Void Ray and an Oracle as his friend. In the main, the DT will get taken care of. The second DT at the natural is also going to be dealt with promptly, as now there is a Lair and an Overseer being morphed, but not before he takes another couple drones.
Yeah, it's actually insane to me that those DTs only killed 2 drones collectively.
Yeah.
It's almost unbelievable.
Almost.
So I think, in the end, with all said and done, I think it kind of stabilized into an even position, except Cham is behind in upgrades, and his tech is really not that great.
Yeah.
Look at the immortal count. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's gonna go up to 3.
Also. Yeah, I mean, Archons and Immortals at this stage of the game, very, very powerful. Cham is going for an Infestation Pit, so I have to imagine it's going to be something like Swarm Hosts. Yeah, because what else could it be at this point? I mean, yeah, you could try to go into like a Hive and go into Lurkers, but I don't think you can. Oh, he's actually doing it. He's dropping the
Yeah.
Hive, doesn't even have a Hydra Den yet. I am very confused by this move. I mean, it's so expensive, it's gonna get spotted as well. And I have to imagine NightMare's gonna look at this and be like, oh, okay, like, I'll just kill you, right?
I think so, honestly. He's doing a lot of scouting with his air units. He sees everything that's going on. Did see the Hive morphing with the Oracle?
Yeah,
You just walk across and win, no? As a
yeah,
Protoss player.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Hive is extremely greedy, extremely early. That's an infestation pit that costs money. The Hive costs money, and he was already in a difficult position to defend in the nearby future. So, yeah, there's not going to be any room to breathe here for Cham. The War Prism's already ready for NightMare, so he already had the option to go at a moment's notice, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to take the option, and I don't see how Chamaco holds here for Latin American pride.
Yeah, honestly, I would have missed some infestors in this fight. He's gonna have to make do without the Archons are just melting the drones.
Yeah.
21 drones going down. I think the writing is on the wall.
The writing is on the wall, and it is no bueno. What would you write on the wall?
GG.
GG. Well, I think that's what Cham's gonna have to write right about now as well. But yeah, what a greedy choice, especially with the Hive. They're being exposed as well as the infestation pit at the third. I really thought it was going to be swarm hosts, and it's not like I like the idea of swarm hosts, you know, it's just that you have an infestation pit. I wonder what your plan could be, but never could I have imagined that this would be it. This is so crazy, and NightMare is just, yeah, gonna be easily able to close this game.
He doesn't even have overseers for the DTs.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
It's a massacre.
This is brutal.
Brutal.
I do wonder if he thought he was more behind than he actually was, and that's why he felt the need to take a risk. Like,